Welcome back to know more about digestion and absorption part 9. So today's video will be understanding what is intestinal gland or intestinal juice. So we are going to study about the intestinal glands or crypts of Lieberkühn. In histology, if you consider the histology of crypts of Lieberkühn or intestinal gland, these are the glands found in between villi in the intestinal epithelium lining of the small intestine and large intestine. So these intestinal glands are also known as crypts of Lieberkühn or intestinal crypt. These three names are the same. You can call it as intestinal gland, you can call it as crypt of Lieberkühn, or you can call it as intestinal crypt. So different textbook have used different names, so don't get confused. Is a gland found in between villi in intestinal epithelium lining of small intestine and large intestine. The gland and the intestinal villi are covered by epithelium which contain multiple type of cells like goblet cells secreting mucus, enteroendocrine cell secreting hormone, cup cell, tuft cells, and at the base of the gland pineal cell secreting antimicrobial peptidase and stem cell. So these are the secretion. Intestinal gland are found in the epithelia of small intestine, namely in the duodenum, jejunum and ileum, and in the large intestine, especially near the colon. They are sometimes called colonic crypts or intestinal gland. The enterocyst in the small intestine mucosa contain digestive enzyme that digest specific food while are being absorbed through the epithelium. So the juice which is secreted by the gland, we said it as intestinal juice, which is clearly it is a pale yellow watery secretion, forms the gland lining in the small intestine. The Brunner's gland secrete large amount of alkaline mucus in response to tactile or irritating stimuli on the duodenal mucosa. So intestinal juice is called succus intricus, refers to the it is a clear pale yellow watery secretion from the gland lining in the small intestine. Fine. The Brunner's glands which are present in the duodenal region of the small intestine secrete a large amount of alkaline mucus in response to tactile or irritating stimulus on the duodenal mucosa. Its function is to complete the process begun by pancreatic juice. The enzyme trypsin exists in pancreatic juice in the inactive form trypsinogen. It activated by the intestinal enterokinase in intestinal juice. So the function of the intestinal juice is to activate the intestinal enterokinase which is present in the intestinal juice. Trypsin can then activate other protease enzyme and catalyze the reaction procholepase which is necessary along with bile salt to enable lipase function. Intestinal juice also contain hormones, digestive enzymes, mucus, substance to neutralize hydrochloric acid coming from the stomach, and eripsin which further digest polypeptidase into amino acid. Fine? Did you understand? The work of the intestinal juice, we call it as succus intricus, collectively secretion of intestinal gland which secrete protease, aminopeptidase, dipeptidase which is alkaline in nature, contain enzyme like mucus and inorganic salt. It contains maltase, isomaltase, lactase, sucrase, lipase and enterokinase. Fine? These are said to be the intestinal juice or crypts of Lieberkühn. Okay, so the intestinal gland or a crypts of Lieberkühn, you are supposed to remember all these points for the point of theory as well as for the point of competitive. Fine, let us move forward. So now the main digestion, how it is going to occur. From the beginning you have seen all the parts and what are the parts contained, and different kinds of the juice and enzymes are clear to you in the previous videos. Now let me see what is exactly happens to the food which we eat. The teeth and the tongue with the help of saliva masticate and mix up the food into bolus. When the food is being taken into the mouth, it will get chewed by the help of tongue and it will get masticated, mix up with the saliva produced by the salivary glands, and it forms a bolus in nature. The bolus is conveyed to the pharynx and then to the esophagus by swallowing and deglutinations. Okay. Now the gastric glands which we have studied. The stomach stores the food for 4 to 5 hours. The food mixes thoroughly with the acidic gastric juice to form a paste. That paste we call it as chyme. As the food came from the mouth in the form of a bolus with the peristaltic movement of the esophagus and reaches to the stomach contains large amount of HCl and gastric juice in them. When the bolus food is getting mixed up with these two material, we call it as chyme. Okay, it can store the food for 4 to 5 hours. Though now the main digestion of the carbohydrates starts here. So the buccal cavity, here in the buccal cavity, starch is going to get converted into maltose by the action of salivary amylase. Please do remember the reactions. In the buccal cavity, the digestion starts. So usually we say that digestion starts from the mouth and ends with the small intestine. So the partially digestion starts from the mouth, where the starch is going to get converted into maltose. The complex food material which is in the form of starch has to get converted into simple form by the action of salivary amylase, the enzyme which is produced by the salivary gland, salivary amylase, which is converting starch into maltose in buccal cavity. Now coming to the stomach, there is no carbohydrate digestion which is going to take place in the stomach. Only the mixing of HCl along with the gastric juice is going to take place. So coming to the small intestine, starch come to the small intestine, get converted into more simple ways in the maltose by the action of amylase. Then maltose get converted into glucose with the enzyme maltase, and lactose will get converted into glucose and galactose with the help of lactase enzyme, and the sucrose is again going to convert into glucose and fructose with the help of an enzyme sucrase. So these are the reactions which are going to carry out in buccal cavity and small intestine. So now coming to the most important, that is protein digestion. So no protein digestion is going to carry out in buccal cavity. Coming to the stomach, here a small amount of pepsinogen is going to convert into pepsin with the help of HCl. The protein is going to convert into peptones plus proteases with the help of pepsin. Coming to the small intestine, containing crypts of Lieberkühn or intestinal juice, which is going to secrete trypsinogen, chymotrypsin and peptidase enzyme. They are going to convert trypsinogen into trypsin with the help of enterokinase. Then chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin by the help of enzyme trypsin. Peptidase into carboxypeptidase. So proteins, peptones and proteases are going to convert into dipeptidase with the help of enzyme trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase. So dipeptidase is going to convert into amino acid, which is a simple form, by the help of dipeptidase. So protease are larger peptidase, proteases are smaller peptide bonds. So these are the digestion which is going to carry out in our stomach and small intestine. So protein digestion is going to carry out in stomach and small intestine. Fine. So fat digestion now. Fat digestion which is going to occur, no fat digestion is going to occur in buccal cavity. Gastric lipase hydrolyzes only a small amount of fat. So coming to the small intestine, fat is going to convert into fat droplets. The process we call it as emulsification. By the process of emulsification, with the help of a bile juice, fat get converted into fat droplets. Those fat droplets are going to convert into monoglyceride and fatty acids and glycerol by the action of pancreatic lipase secreted by the pancreatic juice. So next part we will continue in our next video. Thank you.